Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to today's Shotsuki Monthly Memorial Service. My name is Ron Tsuchiya, and I'll be the chairperson today. Reverend Fujimoto will read the names of those who have passed away in the month of May. Those observing the monthly memorial for loved ones, please come forward and offer incense.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Ohayou gozaimasu. As our chairperson explained, we'll have the reading of the Shotsuki names for the month of May. Please come up in Oshoko during the reading of the names. That's always a special thing to have our Shotsuki service and welcoming our Shotsuki families, and through that we're able to see and remember the connections that dear people they have lost and friends of ours that we recall all our times with. And so I really appreciate this part of our Shin Buddhist traditions. Here are the names for the month of May. Abe, infant, Seitaro. Ago, infant, Kimie. Akinaga, Nobuo. Akiyama, Shina.
Yes.
Arima, infant, Kazuo. Ariyoshi, Keitaro. Bruno, Thomas. Dor, Richard. Fujikawa, Kenneth. Fujisaki, Yoshiko. Fukuoka, Eiji. Genger, Sachiko. Hanada, Tetsunosuke. Hasegawa, Misuzu. Hashimoto, Yaeko. Iijima, infant, Paul. Kikeda, Kikuno. Ishikata, Isamu. Isoda, I. Jelinek, William. Kaida, Alice N. Kaji, infant, Masayuki. Kamada, Tokumatsu. Kato, Sumiko. Kasusaka, Haruto. Ken, Umeichi. Kikugawa, Sadao. Kita, Oyoshi. Kitashima, Sakae. Kuwahara, Jusaku. 前田滝の時、マーレンマリコ、丸林インフェン正し、丸林武子、丸山百太郎、松井清之助、松浦澄子、前ことインフェン和江、三隅妙野、三谷実夫、Meyer Richard、内藤教師、中川原重野、中野当たる、能勢和江、大家千日郎、岡田和子、岡田金次、岡田実、大上種夫、岡本ヘンリー、岡本高春、岡本富代、Thomas, Rubli, Clara, Sanamori, George Tadashi, Sanamori, Tagoro, Sakamoto, Mary S, Sakata, Aquino, Sekiyama, Shina, Shibata, Zenjiro, Shikano, Tomie, Takahashi, Eitaro, Takeda, Taro, Takei, Matsugoro, Takimoto, Masami, Tamura, Kenichi, Tanaka, Kameye, To, Reisui, Tsurumoto, Setsuko, Wada, Genjiro, Yamagami, Hisano, Yamamoto, Koei, Yamamoto, Nouso, Yamasaki, Suekichi, Yamasaki, Yasuji, Yamashita, Shige, Yamashita, Tom, Yonekura, Hisakichi, Yoshida, Kyosuke. These are the Shotsuki names for the month of May. If there are additions or corrections, please notify the office. Thank you.
We will now have the Sanbujo on pages 24 and 25, followed by the reading of the Ho Bakumun. We will follow that with the sutra chanting Amida Kyo on page 103.
Ido Today, on this occasion of the Shotsuki service for the month of May, members of our temple families have reverently come before Alameda Buddha in memory of their beloved. With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie Soul. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida.
Page 103.
Aita bosa kenda kadai bosa
さ上昇人菩薩四両税と初代菩薩牛釈大官人と無料商店大祝二次仏語長老者二法十世裁法果十万六仏と無世界の万極楽語と仏語阿弥陀根源在説法者利法移動が公明意極楽語国修上空宿短中小楽公明極楽者利法極楽国土四十何十四十南無四十五十改正四法修宗異名成功異国の万極楽者利法極楽国土心法知薬毒水十万五十地体順理本社不知自変界の根本ルリアリ五条上部老格薬医根本ルリアリ社交釈衆名の異言自利子自主連携大用者に常識証拠法式用語釈式釈語逆式逆語微妙語結者利法極楽国土上樹両税功徳将軍武者利法異部国土調査天学王国二次昼夜六時二遊曼荼羅稽古国修上上位昇丹各異英国上修両稽不要打法十万六分即位自権道本国本自教教者利法極楽国土上樹両税功徳将軍不死者利法異国上部修樹奇妙座式市長弱国弱王部者利下両民が無名市長税所州長長や六時水和下門東門延長高根合力七母大文合唱道文行税東方合同修上門税恩に開実年仏年法年総者利法上物意心長実税財宝少々少位者が異部国土仏山幕衆者利法公部国土小部三幕同士名華僑仏実税所宗長改正阿弥陀仏力量温泉流園芸調査者利の異部国土美府水道小法五十九法羅網水民妙門利尿百千中核同時封鎖温税温社会人年上年仏年法年相死心者利法国土上樹両税
Please stand for the Gatha Namo Buddhavatsu on page 174 and remain standing for the reading of the three treasures on page 8.
Treasures, page 8. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Please be seated.
Now, Reverend Fujimoto will share a Dharma message with us.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Okay, today we've recently concluded our art exhibit at Rhythmics, Colors of the Infinite, and we had the film showing over there, Carving the Divine, and it was a special time. Things were very much focused on art, and we always have Jane in her Ikebana classes here, so there's a lot of art here at our temple in particular, and just these last couple months we've been a little bit more focused on it. So I wanted to talk somewhat about art, and in connection, Saichi, one of our Myokonin in our Shin Buddhist tradition. As I was thinking about art, thinking about it as an avenue to explore and to express our connection with the infinite, with the universe, with Alameda. So the exploration is to bypass the mind. This is the realm of the ego, and it usually traps us and holds us back from seeing our connectedness to this infinite reality. And for me, I think as we come to learn about the Nembutsu path and Shin Buddhism, it's our path to see our connectedness to this infinite reality, our connectedness to Alameda. Okay? Not to learn about Buddhism as a subject topic, but to feel and sense this connection and to be able to live with it. So when we study and read books and come to my BEC class and such, it's a way to learn about this connection. But art is a way to connect, to experience the connection. Okay? Not just to describe it, but to do it. So in that sense, I'm trying to think about artwork, and when I encourage artists to participate, I wonder if they see that many people go into art because they enjoy and appreciate it, and not necessarily a Buddhist way to learn about Alameda. They might have different backgrounds. I think they sense this. There's a connection, a connectedness that they experience, and I wonder if they could or would interpret that in terms of this Nembutsu path that we go on. Okay. So Saichi was one of our Myokonin, and Myokonin is often defined as wondrous, excellent persons. And in the West, in America, Myokonin was first talked about in lectures and writings by D.T. Suzuki. So he was prominent in opening Zen Buddhism in America, but he was very much connected to Shin Buddhism as well. His mother was a Shin Buddhist, and probably had the Nembutsu recitation at his home as he grew up, and later in his own life, after studying a lot of Zen, he looked into Shin Buddhism and wrote about Jodo Shinshu Buddhism as well. One of his poems, "The ocean is full of water. It has a seabed to support it. Saichi is full of blind passion. It has Alameda to support it." So he's talking about the ocean, the seabed supporting it, and his own life filled with his blind passions, but Alameda supporting him. Okay. So Saichi, he's not way back in history. He was born in 1850 and passed away in 1932. So my parents were alive when he was alive. Many of our parents were living when he lived his life. So it's not way back in the future. Relatively recent person. Okay, he lived in the Shimane Prefecture in Japan, a small fishing village, and he's known for carving geta. Okay, so Myokonin are pretty generally known as peasants. They were not well educated, and nevertheless they felt this connection connectedness to the infinite, his relationship with Amida and this Nembutsu was a way for them to express this. Okay? So in his life, he was known for carving geta, wooden sandals, clogs, and so he'd have a small workshop in carving geta day after day. Okay? It's not like he went to the temple in the morning and went to service and all these things. He just barely eking out a living, carving geta and selling them to people in the village. Okay? But as he would be carving, he'd have these flakes of shaved wood, and every now and then he would pick up a piece of wood and write out these poems, and eventually it became a practice that he would gather these and set them aside. And I think when he was 68 or so, he became very devout in his Nembutsu practice, and he would carve his geta, write his poems, and collect these. And so for the last 17 years of his life, maybe 2 poems a day, he would carve the wood, write the poem, and he'd collect these. And so he'd have this collection. So 2 a day, that's like 700 poems, right, in a year, over 17 years. So he had like 10,000 poems that they had known about and were part of this collection. And so a way to see his record of what he was thinking about, writing about, the poetry that was in his mind, daily poetry of his connection with Amida, his relationship with the Nembutsu. Another poem, Saichi, in his last moments, over and done with, his funeral over and done, now lives with Namo Amida Butsu in this world, where Saichi becomes Amida, and Amida becomes Saichi. Okay? So he's not talking about his specific life, but his life as an ego-centered person is over and done with. So my funeral's over, my life is over, and now he lives with Namo Amida Butsu. Okay? And his connectedness, Saichi becomes Amida, Amida becomes Saichi. There's no distinction of one and the other. So this is what his poem is saying. And we've talked about in class this relationship of Kiho Ittai, the oneness of the individual and the infinite, I and Amida. So in this poem, it's reflected. This deep teaching of Buddhism, it just shows up in his poetry. Okay? So earlier in his life, he had struggles. He wasn't always a devout follower, kind of like Shindan Shonin going to the Mount Hiei. He had struggles trying to find his path in Buddhism, and didn't come to the Nembutsu teachings, meeting Honen Shonin, until way later in his life. So Saichi too, he had a lot of struggles. He was ready to stop his spiritual quest altogether until he came to his understanding of what the Nembutsu was about. And through that, after that, prolifically writing so many poems. And another poem, when catching a cold, cough comes out. Saichi caught a cold of seeker and dharma, and the cough of Nembutsu comes out again and again. Kind of playful poems, but again and again, writing about his connectedness with Amida, he and Amida. Okay. When awakening to Namo Amida Butsu, however often Namu and Amida, seeker and dharma, meet, they dance round and round, blowing me away. Okay. So happy thoughts of his connection. I still don't know land of bliss. Where's land of bliss? Why, that's impossible. You take the cake, not knowing land of bliss. You're pretty dumb. Land of bliss is Namo Amida Butsu. That's land of bliss. I see. Well. Ain't that something? Okay. So the translation of ain't that something is arigatai. And arigato is just thank you, but in one of Taitetsu Unno's writings, arigatai is from a Buddhist word saying that's too much of a good thing, or that is impossible to have been. And it's talking about always talk about causes and conditions here. So anything that happens, the countless causes and conditions, karmic connections that come into play that make anything happening in our lives possible. Okay, so this is what he's talking about when he says this. So this is what he's talking about, was translated as ain't that something? Incredible to be, amazing, miraculous. So as I was looking at Saichi's poetry, I was thinking, I wonder what artists write about. And so I'm looking at things that artists have said about their artwork. So I'm looking at this, and Leonardo da Vinci wrote, painting is poetry that is felt, that is seen rather than felt. Poetry is painting that is felt rather than seen. Okay? So I don't know if it's really one or the other. Painting is poetry seen first and then felt. Poetry is painting felt first and then seen. Emerson wrote, every artist was first an amateur. Edward Hopper, if I could say it in words, there would be no reason to paint. So painting as a way of expressing things that you don't have words for. Right? So our spirituality, sometimes we don't know how to talk about it. It's diminished as something important or primary in our everyday living. And so we don't emphasize it. So it gets ignored. And so we don't find the words to be comfortable with talking about it. We only talk about the Nembutsu here, not at McDonald's, only here. Right? So some more of Saichi's poems. He's talking about that arigatai. As for ain't that something isn't about Saichi. Ain't that something is Oyasama, Amida. Oyasama means Namo Amidabu, saving Saichi. I'm blown away. Namo Amidabu, Namo Amidabu. So, impossible to have been. Impossible to have been. Ain't that something? He's describing Amida. That's not me. He wrote, your heart, my heart, perfectly fits heart to heart, making a child who saves me. Your kindness is more than I deserve, filling my heart with joy. Namo Amidabu, Namo Amidabu. So his relationship, connection with Amida. His Amida's heart and my heart fitting together perfectly, making this child. If compassion didn't find me, I'd be falling through darkness. That moment, Namo Amidabu, shined light on me and blew me away. Pablo Picasso wrote, art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. He also wrote, every child is an artist. The problem is staying an artist when you grow up. I think we could think of each of us, little kids with crayons in our hands, and it felt so natural and normal. And then we are moved away from this artistic expression. Right? We have to go on to other things, and those are for children and not for grown-ups. Vincent van Gogh, if you hear a voice within you say you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. Andre Gide, art is a collaboration between God and the artist, and the less the artist does, the better. So here he's talking about his relation of connection with God. Here we're saying connection with the infinite, with Alameda. And art is a collaboration. Your connection with the infinite coming into being, right? I remember telling some friends, when I was making a lot of sculptures and things, and they're asking me about it. I told them, it's kind of like you get out of the way and something emerges. So not just your own effort, I made this, I did this, I created this, but the I needs to be removed for something to happen and emerge. So it kind of felt like that. Now back to Saichi. From bounty of tears of sorrow, tears of joy, from the floating world, you served a feast, feast of Namo Amida Butsu. Through this meal, you raised me. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So, tears of joy and tears of sorrow in the floating world, this world that changes all the time, right? The world of ego. You served a feast of Namo Amida Butsu. So, he becomes satisfied, completed from his connection with the infinite, with the realm of Namo Amida Butsu. And so through this meal, you raised me. I came to be. I am completed through Namo Amida Butsu. Say, hey Saichi, you are so miserable. Miserable am I, but I see sparkles. I see sparkles. I'm miserable. This hard-hearted fool, miserable. That's what I am. Miserable. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So, going back and forth from his miserable life as a human being, not being aware of Amida through Namo Amida Butsu. So, through his poetry, say he lives in this world of Buddhism, the world where the Buddha exists, okay? And he exemplifies this love and happiness of a Buddhist life. So his mind empties, and then a poem arises. He scribbles these down, and he accumulated all these poems. Ray Bradbury wrote, "Don't think. Thinking is the enemy of creativity. It's self-conscious. Anything self-conscious is lousy. You can't try to do things. You simply must do things." Maya Angelou, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Thomas Merton, art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time. And my own thoughts as I was gathering these quotes, through art, you touch and play with the infinite. You validate its existence, and it validates your own. Thank you very much. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Sensei, for your message. Will you please stand for the Gatha Ondok-san on page 220? At this point in time, I'd like to acknowledge those who helped with the altar preparations and with the service. Thank you to Reverend Dennis, to those that helped set up the YouTube, our organist Lenny, and those who did the altar flowers. Also, a special thanks for those who brought refreshments or any other altar offerings. Are there any newcomers today? No, I don't see any hands, so thank you. So welcome and thank you for coming to our service today. We have a few announcements. Next Sunday on the 12th, it's Parents' Day Family Service. And the Dharma School will have a pancake brunch following the service. And also, I'd like to remind everyone it's Birthday Sunday for those who have a birthday in May. So bring your quarters and prepare to be acknowledged. Sunday, May 19th is a Gotane service. And later that day, there will be a memorial service for Mrs. Shintani, which takes place at 12 noon. Saturday, May 25th are going to be the cemetery visitations, I think led by Sensei and those who want to attend. And Sunday, May 26th, there's no service. Enmanji is having their cemetery visitations. Finally, today, Buena Vista Methodist Church across the street is having their food bazaar. So I know we have some refreshments after the service, but if you want to pick up something for dinner, stop by and get some takeout to go home. Are there any other announcements? Nothing? Okay, so Dorothy.
Last week when we had our Gotha practice, that was the first time I got to hear Lenny play without us singing. And I just noticed how beautiful that was. So thank you, Lenny.
Thank you, Dorothy. I think that concludes our service. So, Sensei, do you have any words?
No. I'd like the incense. Please come up and offer incense.
Yes.